All right, all right. Welcome, welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for joining us for this afternoon's workshop, Jump into CS Leadership. I'm really excited to be with you this afternoon and for you taking the time to join us. I know many of us are either getting out of school, and I can see from one of us on their camera, a couple of us, that we're still in the classroom. So thank you for joining us this afternoon. Oh, I see some head nods there. So as we prepare to kick off this afternoon's session, what I'd like to do is make sure I set up for everyone to be able to come in.
All right, Brent.
Admitting everyone here. Give me one moment.
All right. Okay.
And to support our collaboration today and engagement with um, the session, I do want to also drop a link in the chat to the presentation. So I just dropped a link to the presentation, bit.ly/jump into CS leadership. And you can feel free to go ahead and click on that, as that's going to be what we'll be referencing as we go through our collaboration today. Just a moment here. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Hit slideshow. And let me go back one slide or two. All right, there we go. As this is our formal opening slide deck, as you may notice, a super bloom happening as we engage in the seasons of CS. So welcome. I'm going to just admit a couple more folks that are joining us right now. Just a moment. Thanks so much. So thanks so much for joining us this afternoon for Jump into CS Leadership. I'm honored to be with you. My name is Omar Shepard. I have the honor of serving as a project specialist in digital learning and computer science education with the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools. And this workshop today is provided through the wonderful opportunity through the Educator Workforce Grant. And it's a great opportunity for us to look at these goals that we have as we collaboratively work towards enabling students to understand how their digital world works, encouraging critical thinking and discussion, and exploring the broader ethical and social implications of technology. And if any of you that just joined us are wondering, hey, where's the link to that presentation? We have strategically placed it on a couple of slides. So you may notice it at the bottom, bit.ly, jump into CS leadership. Oh, thanks so much, Heidi. My co-facilitator and colleague and regional lead, I appreciate you adding that. So part of what we need to do as part of the seasons of CS is, of course, give you an opportunity to sign in. So signing in is a actual series of steps you'll have to go through by visiting this website here, bit.ly/season sign in. You'll need to sign in there in order for us to make sure we document that you're joining us this afternoon, in order for us to make sure that you receive your stipend for your participation in our work together today. So before we dive into the presentation, we'll pause for a moment to give those that are joining us an opportunity to sign in. So I'll just kind of stand by and look for a virtual or literal thumbs up once you've had a chance to sign in.
At the end of the day, I wouldn't be a bad person either.
Right.
Thank you, thank you. I've noticed my colleague has posted the link in the chat to the sign in as well. Okay, great. We've got one signed in so far, two. That's great. And I'm really thankful for those that joined us. I did try the You're Invited strategy yesterday, and I'm honored that those that may have joined us in prior professional learning opportunities have joined us this afternoon as we get ready to jump into CS leadership. Thank you, thank you. Wonderful. I do notice a few folks still signing in to our workshop now. So we'll leave the screen up just another moment or two. Welcome to any of our attendees just joining us. You're with us for the Seasons of CS workshop, Jump into CS Leadership. On the screen now, you'll notice that there's a sign-in sheet. I invite you to sign in, and we'll be able to continue our presentation. I did just drop it in the chat again, just in case anyone would like to click on it. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I've gotten a few thumbs up. Hopefully everyone's got the link. I guess we'll go ahead and toggle forward. And I'm loving seeing some of these AI avatars created. I'll have to set that up for mine too. I think that's cool. All right, great. Thanks, Vanessa, Don, Kaylee, and
Omar, we talked about it last time. I thought you were gonna go for it.
oh, I did create one, but when we did the Zoom update, it totally deleted it.
Yes, you said you were
Hey, why don't
supposed
you
to do
join
it
this
with us.
Zoom?
Indeed,
That's what I
indeed.
figured you were calling me about. I was like, I'm gonna
All right, Omar.
Thank you.
I think it's gonna be easy. Marissa's
All
here
right.
too.
All right, there we go. So
It's cool.
without
All right.
further ado, let's go ahead and dive into our presentation for today. And I'll pass it over to our regional lead, Heidi Baines.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're excited to see you all here. My name is Heidi Baines, and I'm a coordinator for educational technology at the Riverside County Office of Education. And I work closely with our partners in San Bernardino, Orange, Imperial, and San Diego counties. So we're really excited to be here. We work as a team to bring professional development opportunities to all of our counties, and we call this Region 7. So you'll see our Region 7 logo on the screen as well. But again, we want to thank you for being here, and we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks, Omar.
Thank you. Thank you. So thank you for joining us for jumping into CS leadership. Here's a quick gander at our agenda for today. Welcome and sign in. Welcome. We do have an activity we look forward to engaging with you in that was inspired by the ECS curriculum. You may be wondering, ECS, what's that? That's exploring computer science. And there's an unplugged activity called the Muddy City Problem that we're looking forward to engaging you in. We'll then spend some time exploring the why, getting a glimpse at an overview of the California K-12 CS standards. We'll have some time to engage with the CS for CA, that's Computer Science for California, Equity Guide, as well as look at some of the levers that we have to keep in mind when thinking about managing complex change. We'll explore the CS teacher standards, talk about upcoming events, and then we'll wrap up. The idea for today is really for us to leverage this opportunity for us to engage educators from across our region to be able to think about ways we can increase equity and access for computer science education for students in our community, schools, and districts. All right. Heidi?
All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with just a little warm up here. On our slide, we have a picture of a bunch of kind of retro tools. So we want to have you take a minute and think a little abstractly here. Which of these retro tools best describes your school or district's implementation of computer science? So you may have to think a little bit about that when you look at these images. But again, which of these tools would you think describes your school or district's implementation of computer science? And we'll give you, what do we have, Omar, a couple of minutes for this?
Yeah, let's give them about 2 minutes to kind of get a gander at one of the images and maybe think about how it represents their district's implementation and drop it in the chat.
Perfect. I see a couple in there.
8 tracks, floppy disk,
Wonderful.
VHS cassette, computer, desktop, okay. Boombox. No laser disc. Oh, I guess one's missing here.
These are just great images too. They're just fun to look at.
They are. They are. Wow, wow. I have lots of fond memories of having a Walkman back in the day, as I used to catch the school bus and be listening to my tunes. And I enjoyed being able to dub over it too, to be able to record my own voice. And that was always cool. All right, boombox, boombox. Wow, wow.
Omar, did you say you dubbed over for your Walkman?
Well, yeah, I would use the boombox to put in a tape, and I would record over old, things. I mean, to be honest with you, my church would always give us cassettes of the sermon. I would just record music over it from the radio to have the songs that I liked ready to pop in my Walkman when I wanted.
Clever.
Anyway, well, thanks everyone for contributing to that. I did notice a couple of folks just joining us. I'm going to drop the link to the sign-in sheet in the chat. That way you have it. And then we'll drop the link to the presentation in the chat as well in just a moment. All right.
Sorry, Omar, I was dropping a link too. So, one of the reasons we're here, it's not just about AI, but AI specifically mentioned on this slide. And because you're here, you probably realize that, the jobs of the future, many of them include a computer science component. And I would even argue that nearly all of them in some way include a computer science component. Now, the thing we're hearing the most about is AI right now, right? And all the different ways that AI can support us and all the different ways that AI might be a little bit.
I wanted to ask you something real quick.
Is kind of the main topic on the docket right now. So, are our students prepared for the jobs of the future? Are we preparing them for what's coming, or are we preparing them for what's in the past? And our goal is to help move district schools and educators toward, really starting to prepare students for a future that includes computer science, right? So that it's not just for a select few, but computer science for all, which is why we're here. And at least an exposure to computer science principles for all students so that they know what's out there and, they can make choices about their future. Sometimes students they don't know what they don't know, and they don't know that computer science is an option. They don't know all the different ways that computer science is used in the job market. They don't know that it's, maybe part of the arts or agriculture, right? It's not just people sitting behind a computer and coding. And so, one of our goals is to help educators and students understand that there's a variety of ways that computer science can and will be used, and making sure they're prepared for that future. Next slide, Omar.
Thank you. So part of what we wanted to do today as part of our inclusion activity is to give you a glimpse of a computer science lesson that really isn't all about a computer at all. It's what they refer to as a CS Unplugged lesson, a lesson that allows you to engage in the concepts and standards around computer science, but doesn't actually require you to get onto a computer. So this challenge here, the Muddy City problem, is one that we're going to introduce to you right now. Allow me to read to you an anecdote. Once upon a time, there was a city that had no roads. Getting around the city was particularly difficult after rainstorms because the ground became very muddy. Cars got stuck in the mud and people got their boots dirty. The mayor of the city decided that some of the streets must be paved, but didn't want to spend more money than necessary because the city also wanted to build a swimming pool. The mayor therefore specified two conditions. One, enough streets must be paved so that it's possible for everyone to travel from their house to anyone else's houses only along paved roads. And number two, the paving should cost as little as possible. Let me give you a glimpse of the layout of the city. Let's take a look at some of the structures here in this layout. Would someone mind coming off of mute or dropping in the chat? What might be some structures you notice as you observe this city layout? A school, thank you, John. Triangles, thanks, Danielle. Any other thoughts? Bridge, okay. Network, wow. Homes, thank you. So what I'd like for you to do as we prepare to engage in this activity is understand a few of the constraints among it. The number of paving stones between each house represents the cost of paving that route. So as we think about this Muddy City challenge, it's an opportunity for you to find the best route that connects all the houses, but uses as few counters, AKA paving stones, as possible. What strategy will you use to solve them? So we're going to open up, I think, about 9 breakout rooms to have everyone engage. And we'll first ask that you take 2 minutes to just give the layout a gander. You'll notice back on the slide, let me go back one slide. Excuse me. Here we go. Let me go back one slide. My apologies, I had lost my mouse. There it is. You'll notice that there is a link here. Here is the layout of the city. You can click there and that'll open up a Jamboard. And essentially, each breakout room is to select the Jamboard that theirs is numbered. So if you're in breakout room number 1, you'll select Jamboard number 1, and so on. You'll also notice that there's a layout that's added there and the constraints that we talked about. And we ask that you add the strategies right within the box of your breakout rooms Jamboard. Let me go back to the slide deck. So as you enter your breakout rooms, take a couple minutes on your own just to think. Look at the paving stones, familiarize yourself with the layout, and think about how you might go about responding to the challenge. Then collaboratively with your breakout room of about 3 or so persons, you'll be able to consider what might be the best solution. Now, you may notice there for round 3, we're saying share your strategy with another team. In fact, we're going to come back together to the main room and we'll ask representatives from a few breakouts to share, and we can go to their Jamboard and explore their strategy. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now to make sure I can get a sense of the task at hand. May I ask, are there any questions? Yes, there is a Jamboard. The Jamboard is linked on the slide on the presentation. Okay. Are there any other questions before we open up our breakout rooms? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to create and open now. And I'm going to open all rooms. Okay.
Already had them. Yeah,
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
should be good.
Thanks.
There we go. For some reason you don't move, we'll move you.
Okay. Indeed.
Looks like everyone's going. Sometimes the mobile devices don't go as easily.
Okay.
Looks like we're going. Got one joining.
I can't stay in. Will there be a recording I can watch?
That's a really great question. We are recording the session to make it available. I just want to add a small caveat that, of course, you can, but to be eligible for the stipend, I do believe it required full and active participation. If you give me some time following today, I can engage with our leadership to identify if there's a process, if someone watches the video and offers some reflection to receive the stipend.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Though I must admit, I don't know who you are. It just says my iPhone. May I
I'm
ask?
sorry. Sherry Hill.
Sherry Hill?
Yeah.
Thanks, Ms. Hill.
Thank you.
All right, bye now.
Bye.
All
You know,
right,
Oops, I didn't set up any kind of time.
I'm gonna pause the recording now.
city, and then only kept a few of the feeder access roads, the secondary access roads leading into a few of the houses. You can always make your way back out to the primary road
Hmm,
to access it. I can actually see where I think the one that leads to that bottom structure and then into the middle, you could even eliminate that because you can still get back to it.
oh, wow.
You could eliminate the 3 pavers and maybe just go to the 2 pavers on the left of it, because then you could go to the one house and then skip over down to the bottom house. So it could still be
Wow.
adjusted slightly more.
Wow, wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me ask a question. Did your breakout room identify where you would have placed a swimming pool if you were deciding based on what you're looking at here? I notice you're on mute. I'm sorry. Nanette. Nanette, you're on mute. Wasn't certain if you were responding.
keep unmuting and it keeps muting me back again. So no, we didn't identify a pool, but I would imagine they got a stream. What do they need a pool for?
Well, hey, thank.
I'm all for not incurring extra expenses. So
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you for that. And I appreciate your share out and your contribution and a chance for us to look at what are some of the strategies that you had in mind as you were assessing this challenge. All right. Might we have another breakout room that would like to share their team strategy and their way of approaching the Muddy City problem? You can feel free to take yourself off mute and let me know what breakout room
I
you're
could
in.
go.
Oh, great. Matt
We're on
speaking.
slide. My name is Chad.
Hi, Chad. What
Hey.
slide are you on? 3?
Slide 9.
9? Okay, perfect. Thank you. So would you please share with us maybe your role, what grade levels you work with, and your school or district?
Wait, is that slide 9?
Oh, sorry. No, it's not. There it is. Thank you.
Okay. I teach science, but next year I'll be teaching computer science also. This year I'm kind of teaching it as an elective wheel.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I been doing the Cal Poly computer science authorization. So
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Great to hear. I myself found my entree through a similar program at UCI. So I'm excited to hear about your team's strategy for solving the challenge. Can you walk through with us through your Jamboard here?
sweet. Yeah. So oh shoot, I don't see his name now. I forget his name, but my partner mentioned that we could kind of try to connect all the inner network,
Mm-hmm.
and that would kind of make for a central hub, and then we could branch out to the outer network.
Mm-hmm.
So we looked at doing that and then tried to eliminate as many roads as possible. I don't know if there's like a formula. There probably is. I don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed like 9. We had to use at least 9. So
Okay.
that's what we did.
Wow. Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you. Similar to the last breakout room, did you have a chance to consider the swimming pool idea at all and where that might go if your plan were selected?
Yeah, so I read so fast that I didn't even see that. So but then I heard you say it, and so I added one.
Okay, I
And
see it there.
It's that little watercolor. Yeah, so it's just close to the center with all the, most branching out of the node there. So
Okay. Okay. Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity for us to engage with this. I do want you to know that as we go back to our slide deck and we click here on the Muddy City problem, it's actually a link. And when you click on it, it takes you to a lesson on minimal spanning trees. When that lesson opens, it gives you a chance to look at what might be some related resources or other ways that we can look at this. And I'll have you know that there are many. As I worked with another school, we were able to look at this through lots of different lenses. For example, let me stop sharing for a minute. We were able to look at some of the different examples using the linked resources to be able to structure the same lesson in different ways. So I invite you to utilize some of the resources linked within the presentation in order for you to be able to access resources that you can use with your students right away. And of course, it's free. All right, let me dive back into our presentation now. Just one moment. I lost my screen. Just a moment here. Basic Google Chrome. There it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, all right. So what I want you to do is to understand that there are lots of ways that we can represent the cities and the roads. It could be by lines. It could be by looking at the length of the road that's given. You'll notice that there are numbers here. These really represent the number of pavers, right, that were on this layout that we could also use to help us figure out how might we get to the lowest number of pavers being used. After all, the numbers used did represent the cost. And we have to often think about some of those constraints as we're planning and using some of these concepts. Here's a video that I really was excited to share. One of my colleagues, Tanya Coates, AKA Teacher Coates on Twitter, found this video and thought it was an interesting if we were adding this constraint to our planning. Let's give it a gander.
We need the sound, Omar. Can you share with sound?
All right, all right. My apologies. What'd you say, Heidi?
Wait, I wasn't getting the sound on my end, or it was a little choppy. Can you reshare with
Sure, absolutely. I'll share it one more time. Here we go. The idea of this video was to just add another constraint to the activity we just engaged in. What do we think city planners had to keep in mind as they were coming up with a solution to solve their own city spanning challenge? And to me, this was the most innovative. This was from a city in China. And we just thought that it was a great example to kind of wrap up the Muddy City inclusion activity. So some of you may be wondering, well, gee, that was cool and all, but how in the world does this translate to computer science? Well, I want you to recall, we refer to it as a CS Unplugged lesson, really a lesson that's designed to give you a chance to experience some of the concepts and sub-concepts within computer science that don't require for you to really engage in any programming, but just to be able to begin your understanding through those foundational concepts. So in case you didn't know, here in California, there are standards for computer science K-12, and they are broken up into grade bands that are a little different from some of the other content areas. They're in the area of K-2, looking at our younger learners and things that they may need to learn and engage with. 3-5, which are our middle to upper elementary students. 6-8, looking at our middle school students, acknowledging that some students are still in elementary at the 6th grade. And then there's the 9-12 core. That is to say that the computer science standards believe that all students can engage in computer science. And that's where the 9-12 core really resonate. Whereas there are, some of you may be familiar with the CTE pathways or other career education pathways. And that's where you'll find a lot of the standards related in the 9-12 specialty area. We'll give you some time to explore that in a few moments, but this was a chance to begin thinking about how what we just engaged in was grounded in the standards and a way to engage with it completely outside of having a computer. Heidi?
So Omar was just talking about our unplugged computer science activities and our computer science standards, but we want to refocus on what exactly is computer science. And I think, I think it's kind of maybe a mystery to some people, or maybe people, think they know a little bit about it, or, know that it's dealing with the computer. But I think there's, at least in the education space, can be some confusion around what is computer science, especially versus ed tech and versus computer skills, right? So computer science develops critical thinking, problem-solving skills, computational thinking. So students are not just users of technology, they become creators of it. And we think about computer science in terms of programming, but it's a lot more than just coding and just programming, right? It looks at that computational thinking and logic skills. So what is it and what it is not? And this might be something that you might use as an educational leader at your school site. And forgive me because I have a dog here that might bark. So Omar, if she starts to bark, I'm going to turn it over to you. So what is it not? So it's not ed tech. And I'm an ed tech coordinator, and computer science falls under what I do, but educational technology is not the same thing as computer science, right? So CS develops the skills we need to create the technology, not just use the technology, right? So the ability to use the software isn't computer science, right? It's that ability to create. It's not digital literacy. CS helps students understand the world, and not just consume it. And like I said, it's not just coding. Coding is one tool in the broader CS toolkit of knowledge and skills. And so I think it's important to help educators and students understand that if a student wants to pursue computer science, it doesn't mean that they are just coding. It might mean that might be their passion, but that isn't the only avenue into or within computer science. Next slide.
So it's important for us to give you an opportunity to really be introduced to the breadth that's available within the California K-12 computer science standards. And it's important to acknowledge that they traverse a series of 5 concepts and a series of approximately 16 sub-concepts. So the concepts really begin with looking at things like computing systems, networks and the internet, data and analysis. The one that many of us think about when we think about computer science, algorithms and programming. And the one that we all can acknowledge has impacted all of our worlds has been the impacts of computing on life every day. So what I want to do right now is hopefully solicit some crowd support and review a overview statement of each of these 5 concepts. So I'll look for a volunteer. We have 2 here. Who might be comfortable to share out computing systems? Thanks, Susan. Please take yourself off mute and we can.
Sorry, I thought I did. Learning about computing devices that collect, store, analyze, and act upon information. Systems are comprised of physical components, hardware, and instructions software. Systems troubleshooting is also learned in this concept area.
Thank you, thank you. It's important to note that as we think about how our students are engaging with the digital world every day, many of them are doing so as they begin by accessing their Chromebook hardware and beginning to get logged in via Clever or some other system software that allows you to be able to support them as they're engaging in their learning. And I think if you've ever had to support a student that was either having difficulty getting logged in or having other challenges, it's an introductory space to begin thinking about how computing systems and computer science engage with one another. The next is networks and the internet. Might there be a volunteer to share this concept?
Learning about how networks.
Perhaps our.
Go on, BFF. Go on, Gloria.
Learning about how networks link devices to provide greater connectivity with fast, secure communication between people who use them.
Now, I think this is really huge here, especially when we think about the ways in which the number one thing that comes up when we think about computer science, things like data privacy, things like information sharing, things like how we'll be interconnected and still keep things safe. All of that is really observed here. A system that comes to mind for me, if I'm honest, is working with my doctor. They have this system called MyChart. And with MyChart, I'm able to access any of the doctors that I work with to be able to share information. They can engage with each other. And I swear I get a faster response than I would ever get waiting on that phone call back or some other mechanism. So I see that as one thing that's definitely impacting our world. All right. Perhaps our Zoom user might be comfortable with sharing data and analysis.
I think it's me, Violet Avila Romo.
Thank you, Violet.
It's data and analysis. It's learning about data, understanding how we collect, store, and methods to analyze data helps to better understand the world and make more accurate predictions. I love it. Love data.
I really, really appreciate that. And, you know, in a prior session, I had a teacher bring up the wondering around data science. And is that what we were talking about? And I would say it's related. Here, we're really talking about understanding these notions around data and how we can look at how they're used. In a prior slide, my colleague Heidi was referencing these notions around AI. Well, it's important to note it's not magic, it's computer science. And it's using systems and machine learning algorithms to make predictions as it's based it on looking at data, having an analysis of that data, and using what it's learned to predict what to show up next. I'm going to read this one here. Algorithms and programming. Oops, I have a typo. Sorry about this. Algorithms and programming, not planning. The concept mostly is referred to as coding, but not only is learning centered around writing instructions, such as software for systems, but also how we develop those systems. There is a wonderful TED Talk by one of our CS heroes, Joy Buolimi, I don't know if I pronounced her last name correctly, who talks about this idea of algorithmic bias, this idea that who codes matters, and ensuring that all students that are across our school communities have an opportunity to engage with this learning opportunity so that way we can understand the value of having everyone a part of that development. Lastly, impacts of computing. Who might be a volunteer that can read this one?
I can.
Thanks.
Learning about the social, economic, behavioral, and cultural impacts of computing and how they affect the way we approach system development.
Now, I think that's really huge. And thanks so much for reading that, because I think it gives us a space to begin thinking about how can we keep in mind what might be the impact of what we're developing on the world, on our community, even in our homes and our lives. And how can we use that thinking to inform how we're designing what we're creating? As we're developing a system, how are we keeping in mind the impact of those systems on those that we hope to be able to serve? All right. So while we've reviewed these various concepts and gave you an overview of them, it's important to note that each of those concepts has a series of sub-concepts within them. We aren't going to go as a whole group through each of those sub-concepts. What I wanted to do is juxtapose that alongside those concepts are also a series of practices that are related to computer science. Practices such as fostering an inclusive computing culture, a space that allows it to be really an opportunity for everyone to be engaged in the computing education conversation. Looking at opportunities to collaborate around computing, whether it's collaborating on working projects, developing solutions like you all just did in the Muddy City Challenge, or others. Recognizing and defining computational problems, realizing, hey, this challenge does seem to be a bit complex. What might be a computational approach we can take to help us solve this, right? Developing and using abstractions. It's this idea of creating things in ways that allow it to be the most accessible and abstracting away information that cause it to be either confusing or not accessible to others. Creating computational artifacts. Well, the interesting thing is those Jamboards you all created can also be an example of a computational artifact, and it is your response to a challenge. It could also be an actual program that a student created or something else that they designed using hardware as well. Testing and refining computational artifacts, being able to look at what was being created, use that continuous improvement model to continuously iterate to allow it to become an even more refined product. I'm sure if you were to think about that, we're not talking about AI right now, but I'm just going to bring it up. For example, ChatGPT, when it was first came out, you had ChatGPT 2, 3, now you have 4. And that's an example of a product, an artifact that's been refined time and time again based on feedback and more data collection. And lastly, communicating about computing, a little bit of what I'm doing right now with you. So I invite you to consider, as you think about the concepts and sub-concepts, think about them as what students are learning as they're learning computer science. And as you think about the computer science learning practices, think about them as how students would engage with and learn computer science. So I know you heard me mention earlier that there is a resource developed by our California Department of Education, a multi-100-page document that allows you to really engage with the computer science standards, just dropped in the chat. However, as you saw when we joined, we're part of a region. And in Region 7, one of our colleagues, Mark Landsberger, the computer science coordinator from San Diego and incoming Computer Science Teacher Association San Diego chapter lead president, he developed this wonderful Padlet with a host of resources that allow you to really be able to engage with the standards. Let me model for you how to engage with this Padlet. One moment, please. So here, we simply click on the link, and we go to the standards page. Here, you'll be able to look at the content standards, get a look at those sub-concepts we were talking about and what they entail for each of the various concepts. You'll have a chance to look at some resources such as integration opportunities, resources for administrators, and other curricula. We know this is a lot to review. We are not going to be able to engage with all of it now, but we would like to provide you some time. Let's set aside about 7 minutes. We'll basically mute our microphones and take ourselves off camera. Yes, please do share the resources with colleagues. Absolutely, Gloria. Thanks for asking. And we'd like for you to review some of the resources, and then we can maybe have a quick share out of maybe some things that we noticed, are wondering about, or that we think are interesting. So I'm going to set a timer now for about 7 minutes. Might there be any questions before we give you time to engage with the Padlet resources? Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can queue up some lo-fi music, and I'll meet you back here at about 5:04. Thank you.
I'm so sorry. Could you please share the slide with the QR code so we can access the Padlet right away? Please.
Absolutely. Here's the link. Oh, did someone just add it as well? Wow, thanks. We're such a collaborative group. Thank you so much. This is the slide deck too, in case someone wants that, but thanks so much. All right. All right, all right. We've got about 1 more minute and then we'll be back together. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So now that we've given us an opportunity to begin to consider some of the resources and standards related supports and acknowledging the breadth of the Padlet, I invite you to bookmark the resource and to give it a gander following today's workshop as you're thinking about either looking at some of the standards or some of the resources there, or some of the admin level tools that could even support leaders in your school community in beginning to think about these notions around computer science education implementation. So I think part of what you noticed that we discussed today was looking at these core concepts: computing, systems, networks and the internet, data and analysis, algorithms and programming, and impacts of computing. As we think about impacts of computing, though, it's important for us to note that that is the core concept. And within it are the core concepts of culture, right? Thinking about the ways in which computing has impacted our culture. Now, I was recently listening to NPR, and they were describing that there was a huge uptick in the numbers of marriages that were all declared based on people meeting online, which had us looking at the impact of computing on the culture of the way people meet and even decide to find their partners. And then looking at this idea of social interactions, right? When we were first introduced to the concept around digital literacy, some of the concepts were also around the lens of how to make sure our students aren't being quote unquote bullies online, responding to things or adding things or putting images of people that might not support it being an inclusive community, as well as the ideas around safety, law, and ethics. And interesting behind that was really looking at, for example, some of the ethical computing decisions that go into things like machine learning algorithms, or even, for example, Tesla and its self-driving feature, and whether or not it's able to declare if it's a human, a tree, or neither. And thinking about these things as we look at the impacts of computing. So what we're going to do, though, is really understand that these ideas behind the impacts of computing are stratified through these lenses of the grade band standards, right? So K2, if we were thinking about it for kindergarten to second grade, it would be work respectfully and responsibly with others when communicating electronically. If we were working with grades 3 to 5, it would be propose ways to improve the accessibility and usability of technology products for the diverse needs and wants of users. If we were looking at middle school and thinking about the impacts of computing, it would be an opportunity to discuss issues of bias and accessibility in the design of existing technologies. And then if we were looking at our 9-12 students, it would be considering about ways we could evaluate the impact of equity, access, and influence on the distribution of computing resources in a global society. So I think no matter which of these grade bands that you're currently working with or envision promoting this opportunity to with your community, it's a great way to kind of look at what's really included when we think about the impacts of computing across the various grade bands. I'm noticing a comment in the chat. The admin tab is amazing in the Padlet, and support essential to bring computer science to our students, classrooms, and schools. Thanks for that plug, Gloria. And I invite others to take a look at it as well. Now I'd like to pass this over to my colleague, Heidi, to extend our conversation around the impacts of computing. Heidi?
All right, thanks, Omar. Recognizing we've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes, we're going to do one more activity here in this segment, and then we'll take a little break after this one. But we wanted to extend these ideas on, why the impacts of computing. Why are we all here, right? What is the purpose of teaching students about the impacts of computing? And so, for one, it helps to bring about diversity in the field. In fact, there's a lack of diversity that currently exists in the CS field, and when it comes to AI and machine learning. And there's a lot of research being done around that. One of the people doing that research is Dr. Ruha Benjamin, Associate Professor at African American University Studies at Princeton. And I believe we have a video.
Yes, we do.
Our next slide. Can we play this video, Omar?
Absolutely. I'll go ahead and hit play now.
Race After Technology looks at the social dimensions of the data sciences, algorithmic discrimination, machine bias. And I got interested in it because a few years ago I was noticing these headlines around so-called racist robots. There seemed to be surprise around this idea that technology is not neutral. And so what the book tries to do is not only look at emerging technologies, but the longer history of science and technology as embedded in a social context. A few years ago, there was a viral video of two friends using an automated soap dispenser, and the soap wouldn't come out with the individual with darker skin because darker skin absorbs light. So if it's infrared technology, it's not going to work as effectively. And so I used this kind of lower tech example to get us thinking about more complex systems like our criminal justice system, our healthcare system, education system, where a lot of these institutions are outsourcing human decisions and turning to risk assessment tools. So by calling attention to discriminatory design, that is the human decisions, assumptions, values that shape the process of tech development, we're able to, one, see the harm. We have a language to identify the harm, but the hope is not that we stop there. The hope is that by seeing the harm, we feel empowered, we feel motivated. And so I wanted to give the communities that I care most about the language, the conceptual tools, the kind of intellectual foundation to be able to both resist and counteract these powerful forces. And one book can't do all that, but I wanted to add my piece into this larger movement. One of the really rewarding things has been the support that the university has given to expand this notion of teaching beyond the four walls, to understand that I'm also in service and an educator for the communities that I live in. For some people, they're kind of confused, like, how can you be studying technology in a Black Studies department? It's not their view of what happens in Black Studies, but the fact of the matter is, Black intellectual tradition has always questioned the narratives around modernity and progress because you're looking at history and society from the underbelly. At the same time, we're saying everyone is created equal, has inalienable rights. You're looking at it from the point of view of people who are held bondage in that very system that's giving voice to these platitudes. The point is not to throw up our hands and say, we don't want technologies. It's to say, how are we going to use these technologies? And so I hope my work contributes to that shift in narrative, that shift in analysis, so that people who feel currently disempowered by the status quo are able to use it in that way.
All right, thanks for showing that, Omar. So, you know, as part of our work in CS and our work towards social justice, Dr. Ruha Benjamin is one of our CS heroes. And our CS heroes are part of the CS resources available in this work of bringing diversity to the fields where there are many inequities. And so I put a link in the chat, and that goes to the poster that's here on the slide. If you click on that link, it has a little more information, a little bit about her work, right, that she's from Princeton, but you can also download the poster on that site and you can find the video there as well. But this link to this site is part of a larger site that highlights a lot of different CS heroes. And so what we want to do is give you another opportunity to engage with this content and to meet our CS heroes. So Dr. Benjamin is there along with other CS heroes. We want you to take a few minutes to explore the CS heroes on this site and select a hero that you believe your learners need to know about. So why do your learners need to know about this hero, and who would you share it with? Your learners, your staff, your colleagues, right? So again, take a look at the site. Pick someone that you think others should know about, and you're going to share that in your breakouts. So we'll give you a few minutes to explore on your own. we'll put you on in breakouts and choose one person that you want to share with the others in your breakout room. You can have a conversation about why you chose that person. And then we'll come back to the main room. So step 3 says take a picture of the poster. You don't need to do that because we're in a virtual environment and you can all see the links and see the posters that are there. But do take some time to explore, and then your group talk about the person that you've chosen that you want to share about to others. Anything that I missed there, Omar?
Oh, that sounds perfect. I've just opened up the breakout rooms. You should find friends from your past breakout room you can re-engage with. And we'll set the timer for how long, Heidi?
Let's go 6 minutes.
Okay, 6 minutes. See you soon.
Those
How do we
work?
go to the breakout rooms?
Not going. You might need to go to breakout rooms and join, unless I close them and reopen them. Do you want me to just?
Maybe I'll just work to assign these few here. I'll try to.
And Omar, sorry to bother you. When you have time, can you send me the link to the Padlet?
Sure.
Because I switched to a computer now.
Oh,
Thank you.
sure. Absolutely.
I can grab that too, Omar, while you're.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll put the Padlet at the bottom of the chat here. Oh, who was just talking? I didn't see who that was. Is she gone? Oh, all right.
If anyone needs any support getting to a breakout room, we're happy to help you with that. You may notice you have to click join on your screen.
Yeah, anybody else need help joining? Here's an unassigned. Michelle, Nathan, Dale.
Oh, it looks like it was Violet that shared that. And thanks for adding that to the chat.
I wanted to point out that this is a whole lesson. There it is.
Hey.
And then we'll take a break after this.
All right. All right.
How are we doing on time, Omar?
Doing great. Got about 3 more minutes, and then we'll come back, and then we'll have a 15-minute break. So that'll put us at 5:35.
Okay. I'll probably go till about 6:20. Does that leave enough time for what's after that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yep, that should leave enough time for the rest and a sign out. I think we're good.
Should have put up time. Stop share. 15. All right, I've just added a timer to the break slide. Okay. It's 5:20. I don't know if you want to bring them back or.
Okay, I'll close the breakouts.
Okay.
Take a couple minutes for a share out, Omar, and then we'll.
Sure.
Great. Welcome back.
Let me put myself on mute.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
24 more seconds and everyone will be back in.
My, like at our school, it's mostly Hispanic, but Native American. So. All right.
Let's get on getting back in. There we
Yeah.
go.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Would anybody like to share about one of the CS heroes that you found on the site and shared with your group? Anyone like to take a minute to share someone?
I can actually share. So I found two that I kept like going back and forth with. The first one was Raja, and he's using computer science for people with disabilities. And I'm a special education teacher, so I was really like drawn to him and what he's using it for. And the other one was Anil. She's from Brazil, and she's using computer science to move construction in a more eco-friendly way. And I thought that was very cool too, because I'm like, well, we do have to go in a more eco-friendly way too, because like a lot of people don't realize it, but we are like slowly killing our earth, and we only live in one earth. So I really like that she's taking that initiative to do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan, for sharing. I see Nanette's message in the chat as well. And then I want to circle back to Kaylee, who was chiming in as well. Thank you so much for sharing those with us.
Hi, yes, thank you. I had looked at these CS heroes in another one of these trainings that we had, and I had actually used one of them or a couple of them in my warm-ups in the beginning of class. And I know this might sound we looked at the younger students. So we looked at Sophia. She was one of the young girls that my students could relate to because she was younger. And then we also looked at, I think her name was Christy. I know they're all college students. However, they all have began some training when they were in middle school, like Christy did Scratch in middle school. So some of the backgrounds of these students or of these CS heroes can really relate to the students when we look at them, and that the students' paths are not far off from theirs. So if you learn Scratch, you learn coding, you learn computer science, even just an introduction to it, you could be like one of these CS heroes and create an app and really make a difference in your community.
Thank you. I see Omar clapping. I gave you a virtual clap as well. I wish we had that on a slide. That was beautiful. Thank you, Kate. And
Indeed.
thank you everybody that's sharing in the chat as well. I added the link here in the chat to the official lesson for CS Ed Week. You can see it's more in depth than what we've done here today, but you can take a look at that as one of the resources that you might be able to use. And again, thank you so much for sharing. I hope you had really robust and interesting conversations in your breakouts as well, because there's so many heroes there to celebrate. We could do a whole 3 hours on just the CS heroes. So again, thank you. Thank you for your participation.
Indeed. So without further ado, we're going to give you some time to stretch and maybe have a bio break, get some water, coffee, Diet Coke, and then get back to us in about 15 minutes. I do have a timer here, so we'll just play some lo-fi music and we'll see you back in 15. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good day.
All right. Just thanking everyone for joining us, sticking with us here this afternoon with our jump into CS leadership. Let's go ahead and welcome everyone back from break. Hopefully you've had time for some reset and all right. So now I'd like to welcome everyone back and give everyone an opportunity now to take a look at some resources developed through our friends with CS for CA with the CS Equity Guide. Heidi?
Yeah, welcome back, everyone. Omar, if you do me a favor and go to the next slide, and then if we can put that CS for CA Equity Guide link in the chat, that'd be super.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Okay, so welcome back from a nice long break that even 15 minutes goes quickly, doesn't it? We're going to spend the next big chunk of time here really digging deeper into what it means to implement or integrate CS into our school systems. And so what we have here are 6 challenges we want you to consider. Now, Omar mentioned here right on the other slide about the CS for CA CS Equity Guide. And you'll find a link in the chat that if you click on that, it'll give you access to a PDF. It may ask you to put in some information before it grants you access to the PDF. I think it collects your name and your email address. But once you do that, you'll have access to the CS Equity Guide. And the purpose of the Equity Guide is to help answer some of the challenges that we're going to explore in this next activity. It won't answer all of the challenges. These are challenges that are ongoing that we're still working on, but the Equity Guide was published in an effort to help leaders implement CS and to tackle some of these issues they're tough. They're difficult problems, and there's not a one way to solve them. And like I said, they're ongoing. And so if you take a moment and download that Equity Guide, that will be helpful as we move forward with the rest of this activity. Just letting someone into the room. Okay.
It's asking us to sign in. Do we sign in with our SOS?
It should ask you for, hey, Omar, will you click on it?
Yeah.
It'll go
It
direct.
only asks for you to add your name, your last name, and your email. And then
Yeah.
you're able to download it.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a sign in. So right there down on the bottom right, just if you put in your name and email and then click get the guide, it'll give you access.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. There are hard copies. You can request a hard copy of this guide, but the PDF is the same information. But you can get a hard copy if you want. So you can see Omar put in his information and then up pops the guide. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Omar.
Of course. I'll download it here. And what I'll do is, if it's helpful, I'll try to add it to the chat right now.
That'd be great.
The presentation. Sure. Just a moment here. Let's go to everyone. And we're going to add the file and the toolkit. I've just uploaded it in the chat. So if you would prefer to just download it directly from the chat, it's uploading right now. Give another moment or two. And you'll
I'll give that a second before we put more links there so we don't
yeah.
chat with the next round of links.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that.
Sure.
So what we're going to do is we're going to explore 6 challenges, and you're going to get some time to look at them on your own. And then we're going to have you choose the challenge that is most vexing to you and have you group up in breakout rooms according to the challenge you want to explore more. So we're going to have you look at all of them, but then spend, thank you, Omar, that just popped into the chat. Then we'll spend some time in groups focusing on the one that is most concerning to you, or the one that you feel like is something that you'd like to work more on. Some of them are very secondary specific, some of them are high school specific, but there's a little something for everyone. So as we dive into this, if you take a moment to at least consider all of them, regardless of the grade level that you teach, like I said, you'll have time to choose the one that's most relevant to you after you look at them all. And so, Omar, if you'll click on that Jamboard link, if we can take a look at it real quick. So we're going to give you a link to the Jamboard right there on the bottom. And on the Jamboard, there's 6 different pages, I guess, and each challenge is different. So you'll see, for example, challenge 1 says, you've been thinking about piloting a CS education program at one school that has a new teacher that is very excited about implementing CS. You've also been getting pressure from your local school board, from parents, and from your colleagues that CS is necessary for students and to provide CS for all. So you're considering a full-scale district-wide implementation. So which path do you take? Right? So in other words, you got someone really enthusiastic, but you also have someone that wants it at the whole district. What path would you take? So what we want you to do is grab a sticky note. If you haven't used a Jamboard before, Omar can model this. Over here on the left is a little sticky note. You click on it, you type your thought here and click save, and it'll go to this board. So Omar's gonna, convene some educators to discuss. I think he's gonna hit save, and that will be a sticky on the board. And then up at the top where it says 1 through, I think it says 8, but there's only 6. When he clicks that, he can go to slide 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. How are we doing? Does that make sense? Please try to put a sticky on each one. You don't have to, right? If there's one you just like, I have no idea what to put here, you don't feel like you have to put something, but do give each of them a look and try to put some thought or question or something on that board as a matter of generating some ideas to discuss. Any questions? And we will put this link in the chat. Questions? So let's go, Omar, with 10 minutes for individuals to look at each of these. And even that will go quickly because that's just a little over a minute per challenge. And then we'll all come back together and then re-break into groups. So it's 5:47. Let's go to 5:57 for individuals to take a look at the board.
Perfect.
All right.
We'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Are we getting an error code for the Jamboard?
I'm sorry?
I see a question or a comment about issue with the Jamboard. Try that one again. I just recopied it.
Looks to be working here.
Okay. Welcome back. Oh, yeah, John, sorry about those. There's only 6. We just need to delete that 7, 8, and 9. Those are extras. Yeah, that does go very quickly, right? Because those are some hefty challenges. I must have seen these, I mean, 20, 30 times at this point, and every time I see them, I go, ooh, that's a tough one. Every single one, every time I look at them. I hope you had a chance to go through all 6. I know if you're going in order and you get to 5 and 6, those are kind of the ones that not everyone seems to get to, but that's okay. Did everyone have a chance to explore them all and decide on one that you think you'd like to explore more with a group? So everyone had a chance to make that decision. So if you haven't yet, take 20 seconds right now to look at them and say, okay, which one do I want to talk to with a group? And, because it's kind of unpredictable who's going to go where, we might have one group that has a lot of people and one group with only a few. If you end up being a singleton in a group, you're welcome to hop to another group, but maybe your second choice to discuss. But when you discuss these in your group, take a moment and again, reference that equity guide. You'll see it's divided into several different sections, which I don't have it in front of me now. I had it in front of me. Where did it go? So it has several different sections in it, all of which kind of point to these different challenges. So one section is on program design and development. One is on students and recruitment. One is on, CS in the classroom. One is on preparing students or preparing teachers and supporting teachers. There's a section on funding. There's a section on engaging family and community, right? Someone mentioned ELOP on one of the boards. So there's extended learning time opportunities. These are all addressed in the CS Equity Guide. And so if you're looking to solve some of these problems, this might be something to reference when you're in your groups to help you see how others have solved these. So I'm going to do, Omar's got these going and people are hopping in. So go ahead and choose the breakout room that best suits your needs and best suits your interest. We'll take, let's see, it's 6 o'clock, 6:10, about 10 minutes in the group to discuss these, and then we'll come back for a little bit of a share out. So 6:10 in your group, go ahead and choose the one that is most interesting to you. You should be able to join on your own. If you can't, we will move you there. Just tell us where you'd like to go. You see challenge 1 and 2 have people in them. There we go.
Here to offer any support if anyone needs help getting into a room. Just drop it in the chat or take yourself off mute.
Thanks, Omar. Thanks for
Sure.
setting up.
Absolutely.
Can you put me in challenge 2?
Was that Leah?
Yes, that's Leah.
I will move you right now.
Thank you.
At least I thought I moved you. Did that not go?
Oh, no.
Oh, it says not joined. Will it let you click, Leah? Oh, there
Oh,
she
she
is.
just joined. Perfect, perfect.
Heidi,
How
can
do
you
we-
send me to challenge 2? It's not letting me click.
Karina?
Uh-huh.
Karina, challenge 2.
Did you need help, Chad, getting to a room?
Thank
Oh.
you.
Yeah, does 4 have anyone?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so there was no one in there. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Oh, Heidi or Omar, could you put me in number 2, please?
2, you said?
Yes.
Thanks, Heidi.
Michelle, Dale, Kaylee, Merrick.
think Michelle may be changing devices. I noticed her twice.
Yeah. Do you know, Omar, I used to have a whole bunch of hard copies of the equity guide,
Mhm.
and then I finally was able to give them all away. Do you know if they printed more? Do we have more?
That's a great question. The ones that we have that I'm aware of are the previous version, meaning
Yeah.
it's been updated. So I would say that's the ones that we have.
Is that a question for our CS for CA folks?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I had them for so long, and now I realize I don't have any.
Welcome back, Michelle. Thanks so much for joining us. I do notice you're there twice. I don't know if there's a different device or if there's okay.
I had so much trouble.
Oh, wow. Well, we're glad you're here. Would you like to join one of the challenge spaces to explore?
Yes,
Okay. Is there one you're
I'm happy to go wherever you send me.
What grade do you teach, Michelle?
I'm a tech coach for K-12, but I'm currently serving a school 3-5 or K-5. Probably 3-5 is my best fit.
What do you think, Omar? Let's see.
I'll go wherever you put me, y'all. I cannot imagine how frustrated you must be with me that this is like my 7th entrance.
Oh, no, not at all.
How about challenge 4?
Challenge 4 sounds good.
That's a tech coachy
Yeah.
challenge there.
Thanks
Okay.
so much, y'all.
Sure. All right. So just taking a moment to kind of make meaning with where we are in the presentation. When we come back, we'll basically traverse each of these different challenges and solicit group responses.
Mhm.
And then we'll move into the lipid noster. Okay.
And I think that's you
Yeah.
kind of heading into the home stretch there, right?
I'm going through these. Yeah, which actually goes pretty quickly from what I'm seeing here. So
The share out will probably take till 6:30,
okay.
and then finish up and give people ample time to sign out.
Yeah.
All that. You can show the Super Bloom video.
Yeah.
I love the Super Bloom video.
All right, so here we go. So I was messaging her. She's really excited that we were able to have the outreach and build awareness for this opportunity. And she encouraged me to try to get any social media postable images. So because we are recording this, I shared, I'm sure we'll have lots of different options to choose from. But I think what makes the best is if we can get an all Zoom photo. So we'll try to do that if possible. And yeah.
How about after we discuss these, we do a Zoom photo and then head into the last segment?
Here we go.
All right.
So are you on a Mac as well?
I am on a Mac.
You are. So when you do a Zoom photo for this purposes, like all I've learned to do so far has been Command-Shift-4 and then select the entire screen, then release, and it kind of captures it.
That's what I do.
Just want to make sure there's not another way that I need to learn about.
There must be a total screen, like take the whole screen, like on a PC, but I always just do Shift-Command-4.
Okay.
Because it screenshots it and saves it to my desktop.
Okay. So I know there's like
this is all in the recording, huh?
well, there's a photo booth, but I feel like it just gets you and not your screen. Yeah. Oh well.
My Mac, it's been a great Mac, but it's 6 years old and it's been my primary device, specifically during the pandemic. It's been like the workhorse, and it's just starting to do some things that
Wow.
kind of slow, right? I notice it's not opening things as quickly as it used to. I think I'm gonna lose it at some point this year.
Oh.
We said 6:10, right?
Yes.
All right. I never thought.
Wow.
Bad doggies.
Oh, wow. Which dog? What kind of dogs do you have again?
I have 2 mini poodles
Okay.
and a golden retriever.
Oh.
Yeah, the golden is mostly deaf. She can't barely hear very well, but she responds to what the other 2 are doing. So if the other 2 bark, oh,
This is my Maltipoo, Charlie.
yeah.
He just got a haircut, so he's looking good. He was looking wild and crazy.
Mine look crazy. So cute.
Oh my goodness. He's a cuddle bug.
Here. So mine's all thrown out. Here's one of them.
Oh wow. Oh wow. That's a poodle?
It's a grown out poodle. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because I wondered, like, does he look more poodle or more Maltese? And they're looking like they're in the same breed line.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Just look at
all right,
these.
Charlie, he's gonna have to get down. What's your dog's name?
Pierre.
Pierre. Milo, up here. Now this here is Milo. Come here, guy. He's a big guy. He's about 85 pounds.
Okay, so you got a big
He's
one.
an American bully.
Oh.
All right, calm down. All right, dude. Okay, you gotta go. He's just too much. Sorry about that.
You know, if I start to talk to them, they come and talk to me.
Yeah, he's gonna want to lick me half to life. So
Pretend they're not there.
right. Okay, that's enough. Go sit.
Sorry, people watching the recording.
Oh
They're
my.
good dogs until, you know, this moment. And I should be in my office, but
Yeah.
like
All
I was
right.
telling you here, they find a way to annoy there too.
So do we close the rooms?
Yeah, we
Or-
could close them
Okay.
and then we'll discuss each one. I always hate when I'm ripped from my breakout room back to the main room, like especially like mid-sentence.
Right.
Welcome.
Welcome back.
I reconnected on my computer. I'm not sure what's going on with the internet, so I joined on my phone because I don't want to keep driving you guys crazy and me disconnecting. But I just wanted to be able to access the Jamboard in a big screen on my phone with the little fingers and really participate. But we were in an awesome conversation in 1A, and my computer's back now. So if I can get the phone to be transferred to 1A, I would love that. I don't want to do that.
Oh, wonderful. We're actually closing the workout rooms right now to kind
No
of
worries then.
robotic
No
collect-
worries then.
Yeah. So
Well, then I'll share in the chat or share out loud, whatever you guys, the protocol is.
awesome. Thank you.
I think everyone's on their way back in. The rooms are still just closing up. And I was telling Omar as people come back in, I know it's the worst to get ripped from your discussion, right? In the middle and like back to the main room. So apologies for that. I'm glad to hear you were having a good discussion though. There's a lot to discuss in these, right? As the further you get into one, the more other issues come up. Yeah. I think everyone is back or just about back. Let's see the breakouts. We're good. All right. Well, welcome back. I hope you had lively discussion and that these challenges gave you some things to think about and maybe even helped you decide what your next steps might be or what your plan might be. Hope it gave you a chance to connect with your colleagues and maybe make some connections with others that might be working on similar endeavors and others that can help you along these paths. What we'd like to do is spend some time sharing out. If we could, we'd love to have someone from each group maybe summarize what you talked about or mention some things you thought were interesting about the conversation. Really just kind of give us an idea of what happened in your group. And others in the groups, feel free to chime in and discuss as we move through each of the breakouts. So first we have breakout 1. Is there anyone in breakout 1 that'd be willing to share? And it doesn't have to be just one person. If a couple of you from breakout 1 want to unmute and talk, please feel free to share with us your experience in room 1.
I was waiting. I don't want to be the one who always voices this. I was giving pause. But we were trying to come up with a consensus, and kind of overall our consensus was that slow and steady wins a race, And then I said, I modeled after, and I said, what worked in our school, it was a 5-year journey. So it started with, I moved schools to be with my admin who believes in this philosophy of computer science for everybody and equity and access. So he said, okay, you're my guinea pig. We're going to start with you. And then he sent me to every single training he could imagine. And then I implemented it in my class, and then I buddied up with my reading buddy teacher, my 5th grade teacher. And so we already have reading buddies at our school. So then he trained the entire kindergarten class, all the kindergarten teachers and all the 5th grade teachers. And then we buddied up, and we were sort of the model. And then we went to 1st and 4th grade. They buddied up, and 2nd and 3rd grade buddied up. So it's been like a 5-year journey at our elementary campus to bring computer science to every single teacher, so they feel empowered enough, because we have our multiple subject credentials, but not in computer science, essentially. And so they were very nervous to implement this. But if we had a few gung-ho teachers, then just pairing up, it just sort of lowered the effective filter for everybody. And then the kids, the older kids with the younger kids, it just really made it so amazing for everybody to be learning. And then the kids like outsmart us all the time, and we love it. And they get so excited, So you have to just, you can never make everybody happy, because we had parents like, why did this class get picked and not the other? Why we have to wait so long? So you can never make everybody happy, but eventually, like, they'll see the transformation and it will be there.
Wow, thank you, Gloria. That sounds like a great model that kind of does both things in challenge 1, right? Not all at the same time, but little by little. Anyone else from room 1 or anyone not in room 1 that wants to add to that? All right, we could move on to 2. My poodle wants to add to that, but she doesn't get to. All right, so room 2, you collect data for your district and notice that although you have a diverse student body, your CS classes have students that are predominantly white and Asian males. When you approach the teacher with this data point, the teacher does not see this as a problem, but rather that is just who is interested in CS. How do you respond, and what can you do to ensure your CS classes are more representative of your student body? Anyone in group 2, feel free to come off mute and chime in.
Well, I'll talk. We had a really good conversation about how to get the girls going into coding and computer science. And Karen and Karina both had really good programs that they had run to get girls going. And I shared with the group that I had an esports program, and I have about the same amount of girls I have as boys. And the girls are just as excited about being there, and they trash talk with the boys. And so I think that's one of the ways that we get them going is, and Karen talked about Girls Who Code. I don't know if she wants to unmute and share that with the group.
Sure. I went to one of these seasons of CS presentations earlier in the year, and they had a Girls Who Code representative who showed all the curriculum that's with the program, the swag that the students can get. And so I approached my admin and started a Girls Who Code club that ran for about 5 weeks. And we had, I think, 10 sessions total. And one of the things, I don't know if they offer it all the time, but they had incentives for us, like an Amazon wish list, to buy incentives to get those girls to come. So we had Hello Kitty stickers and chapsticks and things like that. And then once they get there, you know, the lessons are all with that Girls Who Code laid out for you with awesome videos, kind of like the CS Heroes. The posters, they have awesome videos of women in the industry sharing, you know, what they're passionate about and how they got into coding. So it was really exciting for our girls to see that. and help get them more invested in coding and computer science.
Awesome. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, John, for sharing. I want to point out too, I put the Girls Who Code link in the chat. And I also wanted to make a point that Girls Who Code, while it's called Girls Who Code, it can be anyone. So the boys, anyone who wants to come to Girls Who Code is invited and can be part of the Girls Who Code club. So just a piece of information there. You can have a Girls Who Code club, and all students are welcome to be there and encouraged to be there. So thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that. And I love hearing that you heard about things at other seasons of CS workshops. That's exciting to hear. So thanks for that. 3. Oh boy. All right. You're planning on implementing a CS pathway that incorporates exploring computer science, AP computer science principles, and AP computer science A. You're lucky to have several teachers authorized to teach CS. Very lucky if you have several teachers. One is a CTE teacher that is authorized to teach CS in information and communication technologies, but has no experience with CS. You also have a math teacher who's authorized to teach CS, but has no experience with CS. Which teacher would you assign? Which factors influence your decision? This is a tough one.
Well, we talked about the course. I know that it needs a person who actually went through the whole program, the CS program. So obviously we're gonna hire the computer science teacher who really went through the whole process. But while my colleague and I, we were talking, I go, well, the math teacher seems to be interested in ¿cómo se dice? In working alongside the computer science teacher. We would hire that person too, because they're passionate about it. And if the more the merrier, whoever wants to get involved. I know that I'm not a CS, but the more I attend these wonderful PDs, the more I'm learning, and therefore I take it forward to my students. I go, mijos, this is what I'm learning. So correlate, you're gonna learn with me. So because of my passion, I hope that I'm spreading it not only to my students, but then I go into my other colleagues and then go, oh yeah, that CS, we have to implement it. I know it's not here yet, but it's coming along, and it's going to benefit our students in the long run, because the future, it's computer science nowadays. So I'm like all over the place. My best friend Gloria and I, we go to a lot of these PDs. Omar, thank God, has taught me patiently a lot of things, and I implement it. I go back and I ask questions. I go, no, wait, I didn't get it. And then once I get a little bit of it, my students know more. So, and with that your passion does go further into, now I got one teacher, sorry, but at least I got one. Órale, mija, let's go. Today, this is the lesson. We're going to do Scratch. And then later on, we're going to do a quick Google something draw. And then, so I just come up with whatever I learned. I throw it at my students. And then now one teacher is buying into, implementing the CS apps. Sorry, it took a little longer. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Violet. Thanks for sharing. That was a wonderful message. Omar, did you want to chime in there?
Yeah, it was just really exciting to hear about the contagion that can happen when you have a passionate educator sharing these ideas and bringing others along and getting others on board. Really exciting to hear. And also an honor to know that some of the work that we're doing is having an impact in communities and schools throughout our region. Thank you. Thank you.
And also the avatar is amazing.
Yeah.
Side note.
Can I add Omar's
something?
Supposed to get one, but he didn't. He disappointed me today.
We'll make sure he does it.
Can I add something to that? I was kind of in that situation.
Yeah.
With one of my teachers. So we got a TEALS volunteer to mentor him along his first year.
Well,
Yeah.
that's really great to hear. TEALS, is that an acronym for something?
It's a Microsoft program that brings in industry people to help you with your computer science knowledge.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
There it is. It's Technology, Education, and Learning Support. I was looking for the acronym. Yeah.
Wow, thanks, Myra.
Thank you, Myra. That's a great tip. Anything else? That was group 3, right? Anything else from 3? Loving this discussion. All right, 4.
I can help with this one. You've been getting pressure from your local school board, parents, and colleagues to make computer science a priority in your district. How will you determine the best curriculum and professional development program for your school or district? Which courses and grade levels demand discrete computer science courses, and which grade levels require or would benefit from integration? How will you support teachers in this new endeavor? How will you measure the effectiveness of student learning when it is standalone and when it's integrated into other subjects? Well, that's a meaty prompt right there. All right. So as we consider this, any responses? Did anyone get a chance to go into challenge 4? I do see some forms there.
Hi. We were in there. We had a lot of discussion.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, but Karen just told me that she feels bad that she would have actually called the cops on me.
I think we may have been getting some other audio. I'm sorry, Cassandra. Would you mind sharing?
Sure. I was just saying, we had a lot of conversation. We started with reading obviously everything, and we were talking about the one in orange talks about 6th, 7th, and 8th grade because it's at a middle school. And so we got that background knowledge too, that they were talking about the middle school and a school-wide program. But we were talking, some others of us were talking from the elementary school and saying we really need to start and build those foundational skills with the younger students so then they can really learn more content and have it fully integrated into every subject by the time they get to junior high and high school would be what we would want. So we were talking a lot about how, they do more than what we think they can do because they're exposed to it so young. They've had so much technology, that they are able to, change things and get into other programs that they're not supposed to be in, even TKK first graders, and we need to talk about some of the cybersecurity and all of the more details that rather than just using the technology, but to understand the technology younger so they can grow with that.
So, and also basically we felt like we need to start with the standards and nail it all down and district wide have the same goals so that everybody in the elementary school gets all the same information while they're in elementary school. So by the time they hit middle school and high school, it's easier to integrate it into their other programs. And they don't have to worry so much about the very beginnings and understandings of computer science and how computers work and why we have to be careful with what we put out there and everything else. So I think the foundations basically need to rest on the shoulders of that elementary school.
Well, I really appreciate those responses, Cassandra and Nanette. I feel that it's a great opportunity to highlight one of the resources within the Padlet, which was a table that really brought you to lots of different ways you could look at integration, everything from curriculum to lessons to integration ideas. So I want to encourage you as you're thinking about this to recall that resource and feel free to engage and share it out. Thank you.
All right, number 5, I believe we're on to.
All right. I'm happy to take this one. Your district has offered computer science and counted as a G elective for several years. You've recently learned that UCOP will consider some courses to count toward the 4th year science or math towards UC eligibility. Some teachers have expressed concern that a G elective opens up CS opportunities for all kids and not just those bound for UC. However, you've heard that many college-bound kids will be incentivized to take it if you offer C or D credit. What do? Subjects? Might there be any persons from the Challenge 5 area that have any responses? Did anyone go on the Challenge 5? I don't see any members there.
I can speak for that if you let me.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it's the what happened to us. We have the I was the enthusiastic to pull the leg, and I have somebody from the district who want to promoting it. So we work together, pulling out the syllabus from Amazon Future Engineering, and then we get all the courses approved at the UCOP. And we have 4 years for math credit, like the Introduction to Computer Science by Fundamental. We have the also the 4 year for math in computer science. We call them AP Computer Science A. We offering that. We also have Computer Science Principle, which is called as a science credit. And here we go. We're rolling along. And the kid, some of them need a science credit, and they like computer science, so that's what they take. Some of them didn't like the high level of math, but they want computer science. They go to AB Computer Science A. So we have a rolling, but it takes a long time to have it working out. I think it's about 5 years. So this is the first year that we got the AB Computer Science A. We got to apply for training, get a grant from a University of Texas. They gave us a free training grant along with the curriculum. And so I went, and then that 30 hours helped me to get my AB Computer Science A run.
Wow.
Which district is this? I'm curious.
I am belong to Montebello Unified School District, and I'm teaching at Montebello High School. I've been teaching for 28 years. I have a math credential, and I also have physics, chemistry, and biology credential.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
You have all the letters in STEM, just about.
Yeah. So I love it. It's the great part of it.
You know, it's really exciting to hear a lot of these comments from across our workshop today, promoting various resources, programs, and opportunities. And I think that the Amazon Future Engineer opportunity is great, and I encourage others to investigate that as well. Thank you for sharing.
May I ask one more
you're welcome.
question that's relevant to some of our Seasons of CS work? The offerings that you have for CSA and CS principles, are those through code.org?
No, we use the curriculum from Amazon Future Engineer.
Wow. Thank you.
Also, I just received recently for the College Board. They have some kind of free training for whoever teacher that want to teach AB Computer Science A. They will pay for you room and board and travel. Or if you want to go in person, Christian University of Texas. If you want it online, then they just pay for the training. You know how you take the AB training, you have to pay for like $800, something like that. They will include that. So as long as you are not teaching more than 2 years in AB computers, let's send out the email here.
Wow.
They apply for it. I'm not sure I get in or not, but we see.
Wow. Well, thank you. And I'm seeing we actually have an Amazon Future Engineer facilitator here amidst us, in Michelle Tuseda. So thank you so much. And I appreciate all these opportunities to make these new connections.
Thank you.
All right.
Our last one.
Last one.
You want to take this one, Omar?
Sure. You are really excited to implement computer science in your district, but don't have funding to support teachers or their professional development. Which strategies will you consider, and how will you prioritize your district needs, like FTE, computers, materials, curriculum, professional development, or an instructional coach? What other opportunities are there to leverage funding, like Perkins, LCAP, grants, COVID recovery, private dollars? Are there other strategies to support computer science? I noticed that we had some takers, 2 in Challenge 6. Mike Merrick or Scott, have any reflection to share?
Yeah, I'll speak for our group.
Thanks, Scott.
We had an interesting discussion from different district vantage points where maybe funding for computer science is not seen as something viable at the moment. Maybe it's like a wait and see. And we kind of scoffed at it because, California is kind of like the flag in the ground where computer science kind of made an impact on everything, right? So, yeah, from having no funding to maybe finding out how to, start a plan of action. My thought was coming from the Padlet that was shared earlier on one of the slides, maybe just meeting with people, maybe CSTA going to some of their events. Sometimes the answers don't really come from within the district, but if you can find people that are willing to share what's happening around, even just this session, we're just getting loads of information. I feel like it can really... Oh, can you not hear me? Sorry. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. It's a bit lower, but you were making a very poignant point.
Let me see. Okay, sorry about that. I think I have my...
Oh, you sound better now. Thank you.
Yeah, I raised it up. Sorry about that, folks. So in short, collaborating, finding groups, teachers that are actually doing things and can, propose or just share things that are working, and having a wealth of knowledge of things that they've used and maybe things that would also be avoidable. So for example, free programs, how to maybe build capacity, finding other interested teachers. And then I feel like it's always been a matter of building a proof of concept that people can actually see. And then from that point, you can start to have not necessarily a showcase, but when people take notice of it, it's like, oh, it seems like we would like to see more of this. And then that's where you basically pitch and say, yeah, we'd love to do more, but we just don't have, the resources. I feel like a lot of it's in concept, good ideas, but until people see things for themselves, like what students can produce or what they can execute from that learning, I always feel like, from what I've experienced in my district, building small things that can draw attention sometimes works very effectively, because a lot of people don't grasp the visceral nature of what's required until they actually see what's possible.
I really appreciate that, specifically when I think about some of my entree into the computer science space and using the approach of beginning by hosting these huge robotics competitions and having communities and families come out and see what the kids can do, and it creating a openness in their hearts and minds to begin to think about how this can become a reality. And, I'd be remiss if I didn't think about all the opportunities to engage in advocacy work when trying to elevate strategies for computer science for all, and specifically thinking about the reality of LCAP. We know here in California, we're a locally controlled state. So if you really want to see something in your schools, what has to happen? Community, family, it needs to be asked for. It needs to become a part of one of the LCAP goals. And that could be one of the, I would say, low-hanging fruit opportunities to begin to raise awareness of district leaders as they begin to think of ways to react to what their community, their parents, and the students are asking for. So I appreciate all of what was shared in response to Challenge 6A. All right.
Chat, I put a link to CSTA Greater Los Angeles, which I think most people here would fall into. San Diego CSTA has their own chapter. I could put their link there as well. But as does Imperial County. You have Desert Valley, but any of you here are welcome to attend any of these events here from CSTA Greater Los Angeles. You can see Manhattan Beach, Irvine, Newbury Park, Rancho Cucamonga are some in-person meetups coming up. And so you can take a look at those options, and I'll put the links to the other chapters here as well that might be closer to you. But yeah, Scott mentioned CSTA and meeting up with people. So I thought, oh, I know there's a meetup this Saturday in Rancho. So I wanted to put that there for you all.
Indeed. So what we are really excited about is this opportunity for us to have this next level conversation, from looking at some of the workshops we've held that really looked at curricula or implementation strategies, to where now we're thinking about how might we look at systemically creating opportunities for computer science for all. And I'll say, being introduced to this flow map really helped us begin to think about what are the ways that we can look at what levers are in place as we think about managing complex change, which I think is really what we're talking about when we talk about looking at ways to bring computer science into our classrooms, schools, and communities. So we see this model here developed by Lippitt Noster, a model for managing complex change. So you see, in order to achieve success, there has to be vision, skills, incentives, resources, and an action plan. And when thinking about what we're experiencing when we engage our community and what might be missing, or the elements we need to shore up to help support moving the needle forward with managing that change, are looking at things like this. So let's just say we're looking at the situation where there is a desire for success and there's a need for vision. Well, one opportunity to work with your school community on that is to engage in a script workshop, strategic CS for All resource implementation planning tool workshop. It's a chance for your school community to get together, evaluate what resources you have, both internal as it relates to human, non-human, such as tools and curricula, to be able to begin to implement computer science for your community. Or it could be working with counselors in your district to begin thinking about how they can serve as an ally for more students to be exposed to computer science education, as well as some of the resources that support equity for school leaders. Maybe in your area, it's more of an issue around the notion of skills. Well, gee, we have a vision, but we need our teachers to be able to have some of the skills to implement computer science. Well, maybe it's about thinking about some of the various curricula or professional learning opportunities, whether through joining CSTA, engaging with opportunities through code.org, or some of the workshops we offer right here in our Seasons of CS project, whether through code.org offerings, CS and elementary offerings, Bootstrap, and others. Maybe in your school community, you have vision, you've got the ideas around the skills, but sometimes you need something to incentivize others. Well, fortunately, through our project here with the Seasons of CS through February of 2025, we'll be able to offer up things like stipends for those that attend professional learning, of course, free professional learning. Hopefully, you all envision engaging with educators from across the region as a way of giving you more inspiration. And we hope that that is a way for that as well as a way for us to understand that there is a chance for us to develop ourselves through some of the supplementary authorization programs that I think I heard a few of you reference this evening. Or maybe you say, you know what, we've got a lot of that, but we need more resources. Well, that's what we're here for. Here in Region 7, and actually, I'll have you know, across the state of California, we're promoting the Seasons of CS. You may or may not know this, but there's actually 58 counties in California, and we're organized in 7 regions, and we're a part of Region 7. But in case you're joining us from a different region, it's okay. There's resources available for you to support you with your school and community engaging in computer science education. Or maybe it's more about the idea of an action plan. Well, some of that is really what we help to develop as we collaborate with you, we engage with some of these resources. But either way, let me go back a few slides here. I'm sorry. Let me go back a few slides. Either way, it's all about understanding that managing complex change is looking at your school community, looking at what you might be experiencing. Is it confusion, anxiety, resistance, frustration? Has there been false starts? Well, this is a space you can look to think about getting clues as to what you might do to be able to support you with moving forward in what you're doing to implement computer science for all. So one of the things I think it's important for us to talk about, we won't get into it extensively right now, but I know when we opened up, we talked about some of the ideas of the California K-12 computer science standards. They're standards for teachers, for students to be able to engage in learning through the concepts and sub-concepts alongside the practices for computer science. Well, you know, part of what we hope to do is inspire a integration of culturally responsive, equity-centered pedagogical strategies. And our friends with the CSTA has helped to codify that through the lens of these the computer science teacher standards that help you explain what computer science educators should know and be able to do, to give you aspirational goals of ways you can set targets for what you could be working towards developing in yourself for your school community, and help you establish benchmarks to help you be able to better engage with and craft professional learning opportunities. So as you think about these, it's through these 5 categories that you can look to be utilizing effective strategies for becoming a computer science teacher, looking at computer science knowledge and skills, equity and inclusion, professional growth and identity, instructional design, and classroom practice. One of the cool things are, we don't have to just know what this is, but rather be willing and open to engage with the resources and look at them with a lens of considering how we might integrate some of the strategies highlighted in our own professional practice. So here is a opportunity to kind of get a quick gander at a student standard versus a teacher standard. Within the student standard, we're seeing that there's a highlight of a standard focused on algorithm and programming. You may recall this is what most people call coding, right? And this is for middle school. And this is looking at this: seek and incorporate feedback from team members and users to refine a solution that meets their needs. That students should begin to seek diverse perspectives throughout their design process to improve their computational artifacts. As we look at the teacher standard, this is helping us see how we help facilitate that by planning projects that have personal meaning to students. This is where it becomes really important that we think about how our lessons and what we present to our students could have a chance to connect to their personal identities in ways that it resonates with them and is relevant to the degree that they can be able to have those levels of deep engagement. And then you're looking at another standard area about guiding students' use of feedback through assessments and through our timely response and engagement with peers and community. So as you may see, it's 6:45. We're in the home stretch. So I don't want to miss the opportunity to promote the seasons of CS. It may be kind of tongue-in-cheek as we talk about the autumn, the winter, the spring, and we go into the summer, but really it's a way to showcase professional learning opportunities available to you throughout the year through seasonsofcs.org. You wondering what's coming up in Region 7? Well, I invite you to consider joining us for a couple of our offerings. Coming up this month in April, we have an opportunity in Orange County on integrating computational thinking in the STEM classroom. My former administrator, Holly Steele, and colleagues from the Orange County Department of Education STEM team will be leading up this workshop, going to be hosted at the Newport Sea Base in Newport Beach, and we invite you to register. It'll be held on April 25th. Any microbit fans out there or persons interested in learning about the microbit? Well, we invite you to join us at the West End in Rancho Cucamonga on May 9th for Do Your Bit with Microbit. This just in, I'm going to put an asterisk in it because it's all about timeline. We've just got authorization to get classroom sets for up to 30 attendees that join us during the Do Your Bit with Microbit workshop. So this is a chance for us to actually say, this is where the rubber meets the road. When you're given an opportunity not just to engage in professional learning, but walk away with a classroom set you can take and actually implement lessons with your students. To me, that's a great example of us working to build capacity across the state and provide resources to help those do so. Want to know more? Well, I invite you to take a look at this video about the seasons of CS. Here we go.
Oh, I'm desperate. I can't get these students to grow. How do I spark curiosity? Are you kidding me? I need to do something different. Give me a sign. Oh. That's it. Computer science. That's gonna make my students bloom.
K-12 California educators attend seasons of CS, professional development, and learn computer science curriculum that you can bring back to your students.
Man, I'm feeling different. Let's do this. Let's go.
Transform yourself as an educator into a computer science teacher throughout the seasons of CS all year long. Bring these powerful learning experiences back and watch the super bloom happen in your classroom. Join the Computer Science Super Bloom in California.
I did it, and so can you.
All students should learn CS. All educators can teach CS.
And we genuinely believe that. In fact, it's written within the opening of the California K-12 Computer Science Standards. But we also want to take an opportunity to share a little bit about upcoming CSPD Week. Let's take a gander. Hey, secondary educators, did you know CSPD Week is coming up? That's right, July 22nd to 26th, we'll be hosting CSPD Week right here in Anaheim, California. We don't know if there'll be a high school requirement for computer science, but if there is, we're gonna be ready here in California by joining us at CSPD Week. There'll be several offerings for you to identify what's best for you for your students, whether it's middle school or high school. Register today at seasonsofcs.org. Now, one of the cool things about this unique opportunity is it's geared towards teachers that teach grades 6 to 12, and it's a chance for you to engage in intensive professional learning throughout that week. In fact, it's a great opportunity to earn a stipend as well, $250 daily stipend for 5 days of professional learning. Check it out at seasonsofcs.org/CSPD Week. And as I was sharing, as you're thinking about this summer and wondering where you'll be, this is an image of all of the different regions and ways you can be able to support colleagues or friends or teacher connections you have throughout the state with pointing them to an opportunity to join us throughout the seasons of CS this summer for the Summer of CS. All right. So we're at the point now where we're at the closing segment of our workshop today. I want to thank everyone for joining us. And the process that happens is you have signed in as part of your joining us. And then what culminates our time together is when you sign out and hopefully opt in to complete our feedback survey. But before we do that, I do think this is such an exciting opportunity to kind of communicate that we really have done a great opportunity of building capacity amongst leaders jumping into CS leadership, teacher leaders, site leaders, community leaders, all of you here on this call. And I'd love to get a Zoom picture of us documenting our time together that I can share and promote our workshop. So if you're open to joining us, I invite you to take yourself off of no camera to camera, and we'll give us a moment and we'll offer a chance for us to get an image. I am a newer Mac user, so I plan to do Command-Shift-4, scroll the image, and then, take it that way. Full disclosure. So with that being said, thank you everyone for taking yourself off camera, and I'm going to give us a moment and let's take a look here to get the photo. All right, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and all right. Thank you, everyone. There are 2 screens, so I'm going to do it one more time just to make sure everyone's included. Excuse me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and thank you very much. Thank you very much. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and grab the, thanks, Heidi, for adding the sign out sheet into our chat box. So please do check that, and please do initiate that. We'll still be here. Want to give you a few moments to make sure everyone gets signed out. But I want to thank everyone for joining us today and the opportunity for us to collaborate. I think this is a perfect example of the opportunity of a region to have folks connecting across several counties in ways that you wouldn't be able to make it geographically, but still learn from each other, new resources, new ideas, and new approaches. So I'll pause now and give you a moment to sign out. Thank you.
Omar, I have a question.
Sure.
Yeah, you say the class set of microbit. How
Yes.
many is it?
Well, basically, our thought, just thinking out loud about what our plan was to order 15 microbit version 2 goes per attendee, up to 30 attendees, with the idea that if a teacher has 30 students, they'd be able to engage in some pair programming work with those students as they engage in the microbit lessons.
Thank you, because I have very good experience with microbit.
Oh, yeah.
My student.
Sure.
You can pretty much do whatever you want to do with it, all kind of language.
Yeah.
Not to say that Parallax or have a robot that can build in with a microbit.
Yeah. So I have a question here. Is it actually May 8th? Just want to confirm. Let me check my calendar for the microbit session. Is that what you're inquiring about?
Yeah,
I show it as May 9th on my calendar.
okay. The form says Wednesday, May 9th. I just wanted to double check.
Oh,
if
it does?
was-
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and just confirm. Let me fix that. Thank you very much.
No worries.
There was a couple of questions in the chat about other regions or other opportunities. If you go to the Seasons of CS website, you can filter the workshops that are available there, and some are virtual and some are in person. Like some of you are attending this one virtually from other regions, which is totally fine. But you can kind of sort through and see what's available closer to your home if you're looking for something in person. I'm going to admit it's not the best filter. I was filtering right now, trying to pull out specific region, but you can filter on the site. Let me see. I'm just going to put it in the chat so you can see it again to look for other opportunities.
Want to publicly share, in case any of you attended prior events, that essentially when we have a 3-hour workshop, there aren't any asynchronous or homework activities. It's when we have a 2-hour workshop that we typically have 1 hour of asynchronous to account for the full 3 hours. So thank you.
Have you consider to have a microbit virtual training?
I just
a little bit far from where I am.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We have offered microbit virtual options in the past, and we are definitely open to doing that. This actually will be the second one we're hosting this year since 2024. The first one was virtual, so we opted to do the second one here in person. But I will share this just to share with you. As I believe you shared, you were a secondary educator. I invite you to consider CSPD Week, as there is a workshop specifically focused on microbit integration across content areas being held in Anaheim. I know that's a commitment. It's from July 22nd to 26th, but it could be a great opportunity for you to have a deep dive with some of our microbit champions that you'll be engaging with. Rudy Escobar from Stanislaw and Katie Henry from Microbit Foundation will be working together to deliver that workshop during CSPD Week.
Oh, thank you. I already signed up for the AI.
Oh, okay. Daily AI. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. I understand. I'm glad you'll be there.
Omar, I have a question.
Sure.
Since we attended OCDE last summer with you, and you're saying that Anaheim is going to be where they're going to do the middle school and high school area training. Do you know of anything for elementary school teachers that will be offered in our area again for OCDE?
That's a really great question. Part of what we're doing is, as you may or may not know, I did transition from OCDE to the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools. And currently they're working to build capacity. There is a new team member that'll be joining us. But I'll say for this summer, we do have lots of offerings, but many of them are in the Inland Empire. And we will be offering travel reimbursement for mileage if you do make the travel down to Riverside or San Bernardino for one of our offerings. As long as you're within our region. Yeah.
Okay,
However, I just want to clarify, may I ask, Nanette, aren't you what county are you in?
I'm Orange County. I live in LA County.
Okay, because
But
do
I'm in
hear-
Orange County. So going from LA out to Riverside is a bit further than going from LA into Orange County. So yeah, my question would be next is, would there be an opportunity to attend things that are more towards LA in that case?
Absolutely. And I invite you to go to the seasonsofcs.org website, look at summer offerings as the LA, as the region that includes LA County will also be hosting workshops there. So it could be a great chance for you to continue your professional learning and engage in a workshop that's near you. That's important to note, that we're having workshops all over the state to the degree that no matter where you are, there'll be a workshop near you. Maybe someone is thinking about traveling this summer. They'll be up north and they're saying, hey, I'd be open to going to a workshop there. Well, it could be a great chance for you to also do that, even though it's not where you live, because it's a statewide opportunity. I hope that helps.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I put the link here in the chat. There's a wealth of offerings all over the state. So it'll take you a bit to kind of sort through what's there, but take a look because there's quite a bit being offered all up and down the state, both virtually
Quick
and
question. Sorry. What if you register? Because I know, for example, CS week is in July, and for some reason you have to cancel because that's far away. How would you go about doing that? Would you just email?
So I'm sorry, would you mind clarifying? So you said, let's say you registered for CSPD week, but
Yes.
Okay.
For whatever reason, say you need to cancel. Is that an option, or
Well,
are
yes,
you
I mean,
locked in?
absolutely. You can definitely cancel if you feel that you won't be able to make it. But I do want to note that travel and lodging are being provided for those that do decide to join us for CSPD week.
Okay.
Sure.
Travel and lodging.
Yes. For CSPD week
Okay, so-
specifically. Yeah. Yes.
For PD week. Okay. But if for some reason you did need to, then you can just, because again, that's a ways away. I
Yeah.
don't
Please do email me directly,
got everything.
and I'd be happy to help you with that.
Email you if anything happens.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. I
Sure.
appreciate it.
Can I just get clarification real quick? You mentioned, or someone in the chat said that the microbit says May 9th Wednesday, but May 9th, I believe, is a Thursday. You said you changed it. So which one was correct? Is it there was Thursday or the Wednesday?
That's a really great question. Thanks so much for asking that. I just want to check my email really quick to make sure that I've confirmed the right date. Just a moment.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so May 9th is indeed the date. So that's Thursday, May 9th. I can confirm. We do have the room reserved, and I've just changed it on the Google form.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Hi, Michelle.
Thank you. 2 questions about the PD week.
Sure.
I know that we have to have our supervisor sign off on that. So it's okay to enroll and then contingent upon, I mean, I go back to work on the 29th. So on that Monday. So making sure that it's okay that, I mean, we have to wait for that so we can drop out if that happens. Yeah.
Well, right. Well, essentially what happens is when you register, you sign up, you complete what's called a participant agreement form. After you do that, a copy of it is sent via DocuSign to your supervisor or administrator. They have to DocuSign and submit. And once they do that, you're officially registered for the workshop.
Okay. Another question, it says that that you'll be put up at the hotel. Even if we live in Los Angeles, they'll still put us up in Anaheim?
Correct. If you would like to opt out from having a room, then that may be it. Of course, that's obviously an option. But because we have a room block and we're reserving the room for all the attendees that are coming, the idea is we would have both breakfast and after workshop CS related community and network building opportunities.
Making sure I understand, but I've already done my thing, so we'll just wait and see what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
And I'm sad the AI is already full.
Yeah, indeed.
Thanks so much.
Of course. Well, hey, I do acknowledge it is 7:02 and we were supposed to go to 7. I'm so honored for your commitment to joining us this evening for the workshop, but I do want to formally close. I'll stop the recording now.